Hey everybody, my name is Alexis Alexander and you are tuned in to The Real Deal Show. Welcome. We've got another special guest today, Dapo Adeola. Dapo is an illustrator, author and character designer who rocketed into the picture book world with his greatly acclaimed illustrator debut, Look Up, written by Nathan Bryan and published by Puffin in 2019. Dapo was awarded Illustrator of the Year at the British Book Awards in 2022 and won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize in 2020. He has collaborated with many greats, including the award-winning Swapna Haddo and Mallory Blackman. Dapo made his author debut in 2021 with the Puffin-published picture book, Hey You, an empowering celebration of growing up Black, featuring 18 talented Black British illustrators. And we've got Dapo here today. Dapo, what's good?
Everything's good, man.
Everything's good?
Everything's good. Cannot complain one little bit. Thank you for having me. It's good to be back. Because this is not the first time we've had a conversation.
This is not the first time.
Cool. It's good to be back.
I was listening back to what we spoke about last time, and you have come a long, long way.
That was 2019.
Mate, yeah, I think it was 2019, middle of 2019.
Yeah, a lot's happened since then.
A lot has happened, and we're going to catch up about all of that today. So I always start off with guests thinking about a real deal question. So it's not specific to anything we're necessarily going to talk about today, but it's just like a plucked out of the air type question. So your real deal question is, would you rather be able to read minds or change minds?
I mean, logically, I'm going to go for read minds, because if I can read minds, then I can change minds.
No, you see, there's always that guy. No,
Yeah, come on.
No, because if you can read it, you just know what the person's thinking, but you have no power whatsoever to do anything about it.
How does that work, though?
See, I don't know. You write books. Can't you just suspend
my imagination?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. Well, then I'm always going to want to know how to read minds.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna stick with me.
Because if I can't change them, then I can prepare for what's coming.
Oh, okay. He likes to be prepared. All right. We see you. So I checked your Twitter.
Oh, Lord.
Why'd you say, oh, Lord, like that?
I'll be tweeting.
It could, yes, that's what I was going to say. So I checked your Twitter. Your current Twitter status says, Dapo's burnout is burnt out.
Yeah.
How are we feeling?
Tired.
Are you burnt out?
Tired, but somewhat chilled and relaxed and mildly accomplished.
Okay.
Because it has been an interesting year. But I am burnt out.
Yes. Okay, cool. And how are you planning on looking after yourself in this burnout phase?
Sleep.
Plenty of sleep.
That's it.
Okay.
Nothing can beat sleep.
All right. Nice. So, illustrator, author, we got a couple of books here on the table as well.
Yes.
Celebrating Blackness, which I love to see. This, podcast and stuff is all about that. Tell us a little bit about the journey thus far.
Wow.
That's a big old question.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, how do I summarize? And the thing is, it hasn't been a long period of time. It's been this is my 4th year in this industry. I started out full-time in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't been a lot of time, but a lot has happened in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. The journey thus far has been interesting. Lots and lots of learning. Like, I've worn several different hats. Started off as an illustrator, became somewhat of an activist, and I'm very loath to use that term because I don't see what I do as activism, but by default it's become that. And then became an author, then also became a curator. I've been an editor. I've also been a designer. I've done so much in a short space of time in this industry, and I'm still doing a lot. And yes, it's been just diabolical, for want of a better word. Like, honestly, I try not to think about it, because when I stop and think about it, it gets overwhelming. Yeah. Thinking about all the stuff that's happened. And you and I have known each other for a long time. So you know how nuts it's been looking at it from the outside in, especially. So imagine what that's like from the inside.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I was thinking to myself as well, do you find, have there been any moments, we'll go through some of the specifics that we want to talk about, but maybe we just keep it maybe to this year. Have there been any moments where you've kind of stepped back and thought, raw?
So the danger of, there have been those moments, and the danger of those moments is it becomes a lot, like, because things, like you mentioned my Twitter. Twitter is where I kind of announce quite a lot of stuff that's happening. And from the outside looking in, I'm sure you're looking at it, because my friends will be messaging me like, perhaps it just never stops, innit?
It's relentless.
It's
he's
constant.
doing this.
There's always something. Every week there's something coming up. It's either stuff that's perpetuated by me or stuff that had nothing to do with me that's just come about as a result of my books doing their thing out in the world.
Right.
But there's always something, and that's overwhelming for somebody who is relatively, I live a quiet life. Do you know what I mean? I keep my life quite well contained. So for that to be the case now, there's almost like there's two Dapos. There's the Dapo that my friends know, which is the one that hasn't changed all those years. And then there's the Dapo that the world knows because of what my books have gone out to do.
Yeah.
And when I stop and I think about all that stuff, things like Hey You was a response to the time, like 2020 summer protests, all the stuff that happened. That book was written as a response.
Yeah.
I did not know what that book was going to go on to do.
Right.
I had an idea for what I wanted it to do, getting 18 illustrators, black illustrators, to work on it and bring it to life, to spotlight them.
Yeah.
But it going on to now win the Nibby for Picture Book of the Year, which is
huge.
It's massive.
Yep.
But that's my first book I've ever written. Right. So like, what's the expectation now? So I try not to... The
expectation is to continue to write award-winning books, right?
Right. That's the expectation.
Black books.
Right, but that's the expectation.
Yeah.
But what if that's not what I want to do? What if I just want to tell stories? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's the thing. That's what happens when I step back and I look at it. I start to think, I go from thinking about the positive to now thinking about the negative. And it can be a bit, it's easier for me to not do that too often.
Right.
Like, it's a tricky line. I talk about this all the time. I try to sort of walk a balance between appreciating everything that's happening and not letting everything that's happened or happening become a standard of expectation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What I mean?
So does anything ever get in the way? Does anything ever make you feel like, oh, I don't want to write that, or I don't want to say that or do that?
Many things get in the way, if I'm going to be honest. Many things get in the way. But again, it all just comes down to realizing when it's my expectations of myself, and when it's me thinking about other people's expectations. And that's when things get in the way. When I start thinking about what's expected of me based on what people have come to receive, when I start thinking about what my audience might want from me, when I think about all those things, that gets in the way, because then I'm not creating from the place that got me here.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Like, you can't kind of, if you're trying to predict a trend, it works for some people. I'm not going to say it doesn't work entirely, but I think that there's a limit to how long it can work for. And then also something happens, it takes you off the path that might have been for you onto a path that wasn't for you, because you're chasing the feeling, the win, the success. And this is like, I talk about this all the time with people that, I talk to in the industry, and it's like trying to sort of having so much success so soon in my career. I'm sort of trying to prepare myself for when things don't look like this.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I don't want to get to a point where I'm so accustomed to always succeeding, always knocking the ball out of the park, and then something doesn't hit or doesn't go off, and then I'm down in the dumps because I've equated my value to my success.
To that experience, exactly. Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay, nice. So you spoke a little bit there about being in the industry, only being in the industry for a short time. Some people might feel 4 years is a long time, but I guess if we're thinking industry-wise, we're thinking people that are in it for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, etc. What were you going to say?
So for me, why I say 4 years is a short amount of time is because it relatively kind of is.
Yeah.
Also because there are some things, and I try and say this with as much humility as I can muster, there are some things I've achieved in that short period of time that people that have been in this industry for 10, 15, 20 years haven't achieved. And obviously everyone's journey is their own journey, but that is why I'm like, wow, in 4 years I've done this and this, and there's still much more on the horizon kind of thing. That's when it gets a bit overwhelming for me, because if the victories were spaced out a bit more, maybe I might not feel as overwhelmed. It might, a weird thing happens sometimes with some people, so, lots of people might not be able to relate to this, but a weird thing happens when your victories, for me, come really consecutively and quickly. You do sort of second guess yourself. Sometimes you're like, what did I, because you're just doing the thing, innit? So you just be sitting there like, do I deserve that? And then I have to kind of get out of my head and just be like, look, you won it. Deserve it or not, you won it. Do you get what I'm saying? And the great thing for me with these books, especially having books as the thing that's getting me there, it's there's the industry reaction, because the industry are the people that give out the awards and all the rest of it. But then there's also the reaction of your readers.
Yes.
And that, real talk, that's the one thing that keeps me grounded.
And we see that on my
Instagram,
when we see it on
I do not.
World
Janine,
Book Day this year.
Yo, Alexis, I'll be asleep.
Yeah.
I'll be asleep in my bed, and I'll roll over. I'll wake up as you do. You check your phone, you look through stuff, and there's pictures, videos from parents. These people have never met me before.
Yeah.
They've never met me before. They'll do photo shoots. They'll do all the things, and the kids are genuinely invested in these books. Like, it started from Look Up 2019. I don't know if you remember, this girl in America did a review of the book where she was just sitting cross-legged on the floor in front of her mum's camera or phone. And she was going off about how much she loves this book and the cat and all this stuff. And then the mum sent it to me. Those things, getting those things
that feel,
that is the stuff that feels real. That's the stuff, because these kids, they don't know me.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't.
And also, kids will tell you
the truth. If the book
they don't like you,
right,
or
if the book is terrible,
they'll tell you, this is shocking.
I don't like this book.
I don't like it.
They'll tell
you.
Here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I was gonna say, World Book Day, like seeing different children dress up, seeing the characters brought to life. I was reading something the other day, and it was saying there was a teacher who was reading, I don't think it was Look Up, no.
Is it about the hair?
Yeah.
It was Look Up.
Was it Look Up? Yeah. Exactly. Was yesterday, and was reading the book to her class, and the little girl that actually was like, oh, my mummy does my hair like that.
Right.
And it's those kind of experiences that when we're going through Instagram as your friends, and as I think just generally as Black people, as followers, we haven't necessarily been able to have that growing up. The one Amazing Grace book that we had however long ago,
was written by a white woman and illustrated by a white woman.
Okay. The one book that maybe you might have been able to say when you were little in reception or whatever looked like you, and now there's so many that we're able to say, look, this is, I want to be this. I want to do this job when I'm older. I like my skin. I like my hair. I like my face, etc. And you're bringing that through. And I think that's what we see. Even though I know you say you stay tweeting. I'm not really on Twitter too tough like that. But what I love about the Instagram side of things is that there's a celebration of that, which is what we see on a daily basis through you sharing things like the awards that are won, yes, but also those parents and children, the reactions from across the world.
Things. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
100%. And it that is what keeps me going. That's what keeps me grounded. Awards are great, but for me, I'm a very neurotic person, so they present this kind of weird, put me in this weird space where I start to think there's an expectation.
Right. Okay.
But the kids' reactions, that's pure.
Yeah.
That's so pure, because these children don't know me. My industry is concerned with a lot of things before they're concerned with storytelling. They're concerned with diversity. It's across the board in several different industries. This thirst for inclusion and all that stuff, which is, it's a good thing.
Well, I was gonna say, let's think a little bit.
It is a good thing, but then when I say the companies and the industries are concerned about it, I think they're concerned about it for the wrong reasons. It's more about their image and their bottom line, as opposed to doing it for the right reasons, which is to make a level playing ground or playing field for people.
So what are the right reasons? So the level playing field,
equity.
You as someone in the industry, you as a Black man in this creative industry, what are you trying to see change, and what are you trying to do? Because I'm very aware that you're out here doing things in the industry as well to make change.
I'm here for equity. Like, I'm here for equity. I'm here for an equity in the form of pay, financial equity, and also equity in the form of opportunity as well, right? Like, Hey You, again, could have done that by myself, right? It's my first book, could have done it by myself, but we have 18 illustrators from across the diaspora, all around the world. They all pitched in to help me bring this book to life, to bring the story to life. Not only are we spotlighting their talent, right, but we have done the thing with this particular book where we've given them an equity on the back end. So for every copy sold, they get a royalty, right? Which is unheard of for that amount of people.
Right.
And then on top of that as well, there's a thing that happens in the industry. There's a hierarchy for authors and illustrators, right? So the hierarchy goes something like this. This is my opinion, by the way. It's not grounded, but the hierarchy goes something like this. Adult authors, as in people who write for adults. They're at the top. They're the rock stars. Then just below them, we have the YA authors. And then below them, and young adults.
Young adults, okay.
And then below the YA, young adults, we have the children's book authors. And then below them,
there's a bit of them.
We have illustrators.
Wow.
Right? So that hierarchy, that pecking
order. But hold on, but don't the illustrators bring the book to life? Like,
I'm going to get there. So the pecking order is an unspoken pecking order, but you very much feel it when you're in the industry, right? Okay. And for me, as you've just pointed out, the illustrators are the people that visually bring the book to life. And in a lot of cases, they are the key catalyst that propels a book to where it is, right? So for me, it's a shock that illustrators are given or aren't given the equity that I feel they deserve for their contribution. They're storytellers. So for a picture book, for example, you have a scenario where on the front cover of a picture book, author's name is predominant. Illustrator's name is small in the bottom or in the bottom corner or just, across the bottom. It doesn't make any sense. Right? For a picture book especially, it doesn't make any sense. On this book, we have everyone's name on the front cover. Everyone's name. 18 people, we put them on the front cover. And then when the book went on to win an award, that made all of those contributors award-winning illustrators in one fell swoop. And they didn't win. It wasn't no little small change award they won. It was one of the most significant awards you can win in this country, in the book world.
That's amazing.
So it did things. Do you know what I mean? And then we have Joyful, which is the kind of follow-up book, if you will. Where we have 40 people working from 40 different people, my nan included, working on this book.
Big up Nanny.
From across the world, basically. And it was a massive endeavor, and it's doing its thing again. And one of my goals, going back to the whole conversation, question about equity and what I think it looks like. For me, that's what it looks like. It looks like giving people opportunity. It looks like giving them equality in terms of the hierarchy that that they're rolled out in, they're spotlighted in. It looks like giving them actual, tangible, profitable monies. Do you know what I mean? It looks like that. So like with Joyful, for example, we had, not to sort of throw my publisher under the bus, because Helen, who is the editor that worked with me on this, she's magnificent. We had a situation where two things actually happened with this book. I pitched this book in 2019 before I was ever published. In January 2019, I pitched this book. It was an idea I had to create an anthology with all the talent, right? And my goal was to squash one of the questions or the answers that keeps coming up when people ask about Black talent, especially. It's just not out there. I'm like, I know a bag of
out
people.
there.
It's out there. So, I put this pitch forward, wrote it up, everything, gave it to Helen. She went off and she tried to get the money to do the book at the publisher that she was at. She kept getting met with just, closed door after closed door. 2019, we got to a place in 2020 where I was going to take it off the table. It had been over a year and other things were happening, and I was building relationships with other publishers. So I was just going to take it off the table and take it around. And then the summer incident happened. George Floyd got murdered and the world went nuts. And publishers suddenly saw,
all of a sudden, when
we need Black stuff.
We need Black now.
We need Black stuff.
Guys.
So Helen, the door flew wide open. But even then, they didn't put enough money behind it, right? So she presented me with the, the brief, what was going to happen, how much we were going to pay the contributors. People were okay to take that money, but I wasn't okay to pay them that money.
Right.
So I had to say to her, I was like, look, if it means taking my chunk and just splitting it so people get more money for their contribution, do that. But Helen, being who she was like, no, I'm going to go back and ask them for more money. And they did. They doubled the amount that we were going to give the people. So it made me just think to myself, you could have done that from the jump.
They could have done that from the day.
That's how you valued the book. And don't get me wrong, the end product is amazing. The book is beautiful, right? But little things like that, that's a niggle for me. I have to ask you to do the right thing. Do you get what I'm saying? I have to ask you to pay people.
And I think the worry sometimes as well for me is, as you said, this kind of started, or a lot of this was murder of George Floyd. Oh, Black people exist. Oh, the world is racist. Let's do something. How do we make sure that this is not just a moment in time?
I don't have answers for everybody. I only have answers for me for that, right? So for me, it's just keep applying the same pressure. Don't let up. Keep applying the pressure. also things like making sure that you're both paying it forwards as well as backwards and sideways. In this book, I'm working with people in Joyful. I'm working with people who have been OGs in the game, and their names might not necessarily be ringing out the way it once was, but that's me paying it backwards to them, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. Do you get me? And then I'm paying it sideways. I'm working with people that are in the game alongside me, and then I'm paying it forward by giving people opportunities to come in the game alongside all of us. Yeah. So you're just paying it in every direction. You can't fail if you're doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Have you found people paying it to you? So like those people that you've looked up to, that were here before you.
Mallory Blackman is a supreme example of that. Like, one of the best opportunities I've had in terms of a work opportunity in this industry came about because she picked me as an illustrator to work on a book that she had written. Yeah. And that's an amazing example of somebody. And also, she didn't just pick me to work on the book. She gave me an equal platform. Right. Which, again, you know, it says a lot about me that I don't expect that from someone of that caliber. If I'm going to be honest, I'm always like, you know, me, she might be a bit, you know, but she wasn't. She was everything but that. Like, she gave me an equal platform. She's always giving me auntie vibes. Auntie vibes, the auntie that you didn't, the auntie you never knew you had. Exactly. Like, that's Mallory through and through in the best way possible. And working on this book with her was an absolute dream, because, like, this is one of those, trust is a big thing for me, right? All the books that people love of mine, and that's not to say they don't love all the books, but the ones that they particularly love, the ones that you hear ringing out all the time, the Lookups, the Joyfuls, the Hey Yous, the We're Gonna Find the Monsters, those books were made the way they were made because I was given a certain amount of trust. Right. And I find that working with across other publishers, and don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed all the experiences for their own thing, but that trust is not always immediately extended. There are areas where I have to fight for that trust, and then there are areas where it's just freely given. Yeah. And where it's freely given, because I don't have to waste energy fighting for the trust, we get what I feel is a better, more cohesive work experience, and also an end product that you're really feeling me in. Makes sense. You know, makes sense. So, because that's another one of the questions I was going to ask about, that how much control, because again, you know, a lot of people watching this might not know much about the industry, how it works. What are you allowed to write, not allowed? Do you know what I mean? That type of thing. So how much control do you have over your illustration, as well as, because you're an illustrator and an author, as among lots of many other things, but how much control do you have over the work? Right. How much input do I have, basically? Or input, yeah, but also, I guess in my mind, I have this probably quite reality TV type view of you being told, okay, it's all right for you to write this, it's not all right for you to write that, or draw it like this, or draw it like that, kind of thing. Right. So in answer to that, it's funny that your reality TV view is accurate, surprisingly accurate, right? For reality TV and that. Yeah. I think, again, this varies for different publishers. Okay. I think all publishers like to think they give you freedom. Right. But that's not true. That is not true, not according to my experience. Some publishers do give you that. Like the team I work with at Puffin, it's an unspoken thing. It took a second, but we got it right from the first book. We got it right from Lookup, right? And what happened in that incident was, they're all professionals in their field. My editor, Joe, he's a professional editor. He's been doing it for a hot minute. Monica, who's the designer with us, she's a professional. They all know the industry. But what they don't know is me. They don't know what I'm going to bring to the table, right? And where we were able to do amazing things is because they know they don't know me, and they leave that room to learn me, to learn alongside me. So even though they've done this, they've made tons of books, they've never made a book with me. Yes. So they're leaving room for that. And because they're leaving room for that, we're all on this journey together learning. Other people that I've worked with, where the attitude is more, we know how to do this, you're the new talent, you take our lead, that's not... That don't really rock. It doesn't work for me. Yeah. But that's the standard with working with illustrators in the industry. And that's why I say about the hierarchy that I mentioned, illustrators are expected by the industry and by default also by the public, right, to just draw what they're told to draw. Right. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. How do you, outside of the industry, talking about freelancing as an illustrator, how do you come to somebody whose work you like, right? You come to them, you've seen how they draw, you've seen their portfolio, you've decided this is the person you want. And then you come to them, you that can't draw, because if you could draw, you do it yourself. You come to them. Can't draw. Right. Come and tell me. Right. You come to them and then you tell them how to draw. You sit on their shoulder and you tell them exactly what lines to make and how to draw the thing that they're trying to.
Yeah, that's wild.
What people, you say it's wild, but it's so common. And what people don't understand is when you do that with an illustrator, you are stripping away the very reason why you came to them. You came to me because I'm a storyteller, because you saw something in my artwork that told you that I was going to bring fire to this story. So how are you sitting on my shoulder and telling me how to draw?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You're robbing that story of the little extra input that could have made it different, right?
And I guess that's what makes certain collaborations work well and not work well, because there's, like you said, there's the people that are like, I like what you do,
but do it this way.
But do it this way. Or I like what you do, so here you go. This is the story, and let's see what
you bring.
Let's do feedback. Let's da.
Right.
So yeah.
I worked with 18 people on Hey You. Like, it was an important thing to give them that freedom. These were my words, but I wanted to see what they were going to bring to it.
Yeah.
We offered suggestions. I drafted out some spreads and I was like, this is a suggestion. If you got something better, I want to see it.
How many were far from the suggestion?
Loads.
Loads.
Of the 18, I'd say clean over half.
Okay.
Clean over half.
And what was it like as an illustrator, giving a suggestion and then someone coming back and going, actually, nah.
See, now, I'm different. Like, real talk, I'm not precious.
Was good for you.
One of the things for me, I'm not going to be precious.
Okay.
Like, even from working with Nathan from the first book, but I know what happens when you are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you are your own op when you're being precious.
True.
Like, so you got to step out of your way. So one of the things for me is I'm not going to be precious. So you can't be precious, right? So like, my thing with the book is not complete till it's complete, right? So if I'm giving you something, you come back with an idea and I'm like, all right, cool. And we did this. I love the back and forth. You come to me with something and I'm like, oh, that's dope. How about we add this and we add that and boom. And if it doesn't work, but you got something that does, I'm open to
Bring me the thing that does.
Bring me the thing that does.
Yeah.
How I learned, I used to make suggested edits to the text on lookup, right? Verbally. That ain't hitting. So what I learned to do was make those edits visually. Because once they see the edit, it's different. Because you gotta help them along with the imagination.
Yeah.
You gotta show them what you're seeing. Once I make it visually, they get it.
Which is so interesting as to why the illustrator in this, I know you said it was, kind of a hierarchy in your mind. It's not written down anywhere, but why illustrators are, so low, inverted commas, in that hierarchy, when actually it's the illustrators that are bringing the thing to life. Like, if I wanted to read, and maybe this is a sweeping generalization, but if I wanted to read a book without pictures, I'd go read a book without pictures. If you're going to entrust an illustrator to be part of it, then entrust the illustrator to bring it to life.
Right. So in the picture book scene, I think that's just nuts how that is.
Yeah.
When you have longer text, I can understand to an extent, right? I get it's harder to edit a longer text to fit with the pictures than it is to edit the short text of a picture book to fit with the pictures, right? So I get that, but it's still inexcusable because, like you say, illustrators are tasked with bringing the story to life in a way that wouldn't exist if there was no pictures, right? So it's wild that illustrators are on the rung of ladder, but there is something weird that I've noticed. It's like the chicken or the egg, right? In that illustrators are a funny bunch. Like, we're quite reserved. Well, I'm not anyway, but the vast majority of illustrators that I know don't know how to advocate for themselves. One of the reasons why I am as successful as I am is because I know how to advocate for myself. So they don't know how to advocate for themselves. So by default, that treatment becomes normalized. The ones that do advocate for themselves, right, they go on to have a different kind of career to an extent. But the ones that, not only do I advocate for myself, I advocate for others. And I also teach others how to advocate for themselves, because that can't be the case where only a set few illustrators are eating properly. When we bring so much to the game.
You're like the leader of the union.
Don't want to be.
Don't want to be, but it feels like you're getting pushed into, not pushed, but
pushed. Pushed is the right term, because I really
position.
do not want to assume a leadership role, because I want to do my own work. But it's a wild thing, because like, if I don't say something, it's not going to change. And then I feel guilty for bringing people into an industry that treats them that way. If I'm not advocating for it to change.
And I guess this is kind of like what you're talking about. You don't necessarily take on the title activist, but actually pushing, advocating for.
It falls under the umbrella of activists.
So then, Okay. So what would you say is the most, or has been one of the most difficult things that you found out about the industry? Maybe something that you didn't know before you started, or maybe just something that you've, slowly started to learn, something that's difficult.
How much work you have to do to earn a decent living.
Yeesh.
Right. So, and I think it's true of many things, many industries, but it's surprisingly very true of this industry. It doesn't pay as well as people think, right? So in 4 years, I've made 14 books, right? That is
So you're a millionaire.
Yeah, rolling in it. That is a wild work rate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it is.
But it had to be done for me to be able to, I think, earn a certain amount, to be in a certain pay bracket and all the rest of it. I had to work that hard. And that's why my burnout is burnt out.
Got you.
Right? And that shouldn't be the case. Now, I'm not saying that we should be paid dumb money. I mean, that would be nice, but it's just not, you have to work. And also, you have to do more work than just make the book. That's the thing. So, like, a thing that I do, you've known me for a long time. Before coming into the book world, I used to promote my own work online. I was my own company, my own business, my own everything. So that has served me really well coming into this book world, right? There's a lot of people that do what I do that don't have my presence.
Right, yep.
Because I've had to do so much for myself. I was putting on solo shows in Brixton that before I came into, and I was so used to do it. You came to the shows, they were nice, they were organized, there was extra bits, it wasn't just art. So doing all that stuff for myself has served me really well, right? But I was surprised that I still had to do that stuff when I came into the industry, because the illusion that people have is that you just have to make the books, right?
But no, there's a lot.
There's more. You have to make the books. Ideally, if you want the books to succeed, you have to take complete ownership of the books, right? So even if I'm working with someone else, I take ownership as if it's my book, right? So I'm responsible for putting it out there into the world, for telling people about this great book, go pick it up, for responding to people when they do pick it up, and communicating and engaging with the audience that I'm trying to build. I'm responsible for the experience that people are going to have. So Look Up, for example, I created prints, I created pins, I have events, all these things that improve and enlarge the experience that people have from just buying the book. Do you get what I'm saying? And you're responsible for that. And it is a surprise to me, because I did kind of expect a bit more in the way of support from publishers, but that's not to say they don't do something. They do stuff for us. But the reason why, and I'm understanding the business side of it, the reason why it is the way it is because publishers don't just publish you. They publish tons of people, right? So the lifespan for promo for a book tends to be in the build-up to the book coming out. There'll be little drip drops coming out here and there. But then the big push for promo is a month before, the month of release, and then the month after. You get a 3-month window, right? Now, what I tell people is expect that. And then during that 3-month window, you can build up for longer than 3 months. If you yourself as an entity are doing that, you have to be ready after the 3-month window to take the baton from the publisher and run with it.
Right.
If you're not ready and you're sitting there expecting the publisher to carry on pushing your book, you're in for a shock.
Right.
Because they don't
run with it.
If you don't run with it, then you're leaving it to the fates.
So okay.
You're not doing your bit.
Yeah. And it's kind of like building building a brand as well, isn't it, to an extent?
I hate that term.
But sorry.
But yes, it is. No.
But it's
the right term.
Yeah.
But I just hate what it's come to mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is by default, you are building a brand because you're giving people a product.
Yeah.
Right? So you're building a brand.
So thinking of Dap's drawers as a brand, is that stressful as well? Oh, I said it.
You know why it's stressful? Do you know why it's stressful? Because
you are a brand.
But it comes with expectations from people.
But is it
and we live in a very parasocial time.
But is it expectations from people that you actually have to keep and accept? Or is it just expectations that, okay, yeah, I know they expect it, but that's kind of...
So it's the latter. It's the absolute latter, but that's because it's of who I am. But for a lot of people, it becomes the former and they don't even realize it's become the former. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the expectation, we live in a parasocial time, right? Like in terms of, if you want to be out there pushing your brand as you as you call it, you'll be on social media, you'll be on those platforms, you'll be putting stuff out. The bigger your brand gets, the more people are drawn to it.
Yeah.
The more opinions, the more expectations, the more people feeling like they know you,
The more people to block,
and they own you. The more people to block, the more conversation. All the more.
Yeah.
Right.
The more expectations of you. How come this hasn't?
Right.
Oh, this is happening.
So
why haven't you said something about this?
If I switch path now and make a different kind of book, which I'm going to do, it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
You're going to make different books.
Yeah, very different, very different. So, you know, it's still going to be black. I have no choice in that because I am black. But I'm thinking about of a different lane.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, that's going to be an interesting time.
That.
That's going to be an interesting
From a brand
time.
perspective, people at this like, I know you do this thing,
you got to keep doing that.
You do this,
that's all you do
until the end
till you die.
of the world.
Right.
No.
So this is my thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate the term and all the stuff that comes with it, because you're still a person.
Yeah.
And I'm on a journey just as much as everyone else who's taking my books in. I'm a person.
Yeah.
So like all I'm trying to do is be a better storyteller than I was yesterday.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
However that looks, right? That's calm. You don't have to follow. You can always unfollow and do the thing.
Listen, that is always it.
What you can't do is tell me how I'm supposed to live or how I'm supposed to work or what I'm supposed to make because you bought my books.
Agreed.
That's not how it works.
Agreed. Because you can always donate it to someone else if you don't want it.
And I give away plenty free books. Plenty free books. So,
yeah.
You know?
No, I hear you. And I think that point you made there about being a storyteller, Kano accepted an award the other day. And he said something similar where he was talking about, like, you know, for example, particular artists that might, you know, he was kind of saying, you know, don't be stuck in that box. You're a storyteller. And at this moment, he didn't say these exact words.
You're doing this.
But at the moment, you're telling this story through live rap, R&B, hip hop, soca, whatever. But actually, look, you know, Top Boy, I'm now telling stories through this genre. It doesn't have to be. It's like Skepta doing art. Didn't Skepta like put out some art or something the other day?
I have real strong opinions about that, but I'm gonna let that go. What? So nepotism doesn't just exist in your bloodline. It exists in your career path as well. Skepta, love the guy.
Skepta's nepotism. So who's this family that did what?
No. It's not just about family, is it?
Oh, okay.
Nepotism also exists in careers. Skepta would not be debuting as an artist in Sotheby's if he wasn't Skepta. It's nothing to do with his art ability. It's because he's Skepta.
Oh.
Right? Real talk. It's going to get controversial, but that's how I feel about it.
Just hold on, wait. Keep talking. I'm looking at the picture.
That's how I feel about it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not a terrible piece of artwork, right?
Hold on.
But it's nothing. It's gonna be wild. I'm saying this on your podcast, but it's nothing that's got the art world buzzing. Do you get what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. Okay,
right?
Fine. It's not exciting.
Right. I'm not to play down the man's skills. He's a very talented guy, but real talk, you're debuting at Sotheby's. Sotheby's, fam.
Wow, and so in September, the painting sold for $100,000.
$100,000. Have you seen the painting?
I'm looking at the painting right now.
Would you pay $100,000 for that?
We'll flip the painting up on the screen as well so that people can see if they haven't seen it already. I
can tell you exactly where the influences came from.
It's telling me a story.
What's the story?
It's telling me a story. I'm seeing it's telling me a story. I'm seeing graffiti on the walls. I'm seeing palm trees in the background. I'm seeing, you know, a child clasped to their mother's back. I'm seeing women hard at work doing their labor. It's called Mama Goes to Market.
Alexis. Alexis, that is not £100,000 worth of painting. It is not £100,000 worth of painting.
Don't make me choke out here, please.
It is not £100,000 worth of painting. And again, I'm not mad at it.
Right, 81.9.
Right, but I'm not mad at it though. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not mad at it. When I talk on it, I'm not talking from a place of anger. Yeah. But we're calling a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Okay. He was able to debut at Sotheby's because he is Skepta.
Because he is Skepta. And the thing is, should we ask ourselves the question again? You know, we talk about a lot of, you know, murder of George Floyd, all of a sudden, hi everybody, blackness, please can we have it? So is this something that we should be thinking, you know what, but fair play to him?
Right.
In terms of, just in terms of, we know that nepotism and we know that non-black people, sorry, we know that white people have
Do it
been
all the time.
getting away and doing this since Noah was a Boy Scout.
So this is why I said
So, yeah.
I'm not mad at him. Right?
Yeah. Okay,
I'm
cool.
not mad
So
at him
it feels
at all.
like,
So for me,
yeah.
where the critique comes in is, what are you doing with said opportunities? Right?
Okay.
We're already rare in these spaces, right?
Okay.
You have been privileged enough to get into that space, even though, yeah, it's your name that you built up doing other things that got you there, right? You've been privileged enough to get into that space. What are you then doing? Because really and truly, it should have been a group show. He could have been coming to Sotheby's and bringing up other artists.
I see what you mean. So he
Do you understand what I'm saying?
As him one, I'm
right.
Skepta,
I'm part of a group show. I've got a collective show. My paintings here. There's a bag of other artists who I know could be in this.
True.
What are you doing with the opportunity?
True.
And again, I have to be very careful on this, because not everybody, that's responsibility that you choose to take on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I have no right to expect that from you.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
it would have been nice.
Not even that it would have been nice. For me, I can't exclude what that says, that you're not thinking on that level.
True.
I can't exclude that, because how do things change?
True.
If only Skepta is debuting at Sotheby's on his own, how do things change?
Yeah. How many black artists do you think debut at Sotheby's?
I didn't bother looking that one up.
I might need to Google that one.
Yeah,
okay.
Might need to, innit? Because it could have been a bag.
Because it could have been,
it could have been about 10 on that one show alone.
Yeah, it's true.
And they would have let him do it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They would have let him do it because he is Skepta. So that's my thing, like just being aware of who you are. Because real talk, there's a lot of nepotism that's available to me in publishing right now because of my success, because of my track record, because publishers see it as something that pays to be associated and affiliated with me. If I'm just hogging that for myself, nothing is going to change in the industry.
That's true.
Nothing's going to change.
That's true. And I guess it takes us kind of full circle back to that original question in terms of how do we make sure this isn't a moment in time, and it's by making sure we're doing things like this. So it's not just, okay, yeah, one book, boom, nice. Actually, that's one book. 40 people are on that. Those 40 people are going to go and make 40 other books. Those
and if
books
they pay it forward as well, the numbers keep growing. Yeah. Hey, you can't get these people on the phone. I was going to call them mofos, but you can't get them on the phone. You can't get them on the phone because they're busy. And I love that. All of them are booked and busy.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
And that's what we want. That is what we want. So if there was someone, this age-old question, there's someone out there in their front room, in their bedroom, whatever, drawing in between lunch and break, drawing up everything, but they're like, their careers advisor at school don't really think they should bother with art because, art don't really get you nowhere. What kind of advice would you give, or what would you tell people to start doing? And let's talk to young people here, old people, we can work it out and Google it. Young people, what would we tell them to be doing?
So for those not watching and listening, I just took a long gulp of water because this one here requires a real answer. Okay. So for those who aren't familiar with me, I'm an academic failure, right? The only successful thing I did with art academically was at GCSE level, where I got a B, right?
A B?
Got a B because I wasn't focused.
Of course.
I went on to study A-level art and design and A-level graphic design. Again, wasn't focused, so I got a U for both of those.
A U?
I skated onto what's known as an art foundation course, which gives you access to a degree. I skated onto that course based on the strength of my portfolio, and also because I feel like that college needed to fill some seats. So cool, got in there. And then I enjoyed that course, really good course, lots of freedom in that course. And off the back of it, you have to choose a degree to specialize in. And I chose graphic design because I thought that's the only way I'm not going to get laughed at if I'm chatting a girl up. So.
What? Hold on.
Right. Let me land.
No. Wait.
Go on.
You chose graphic design because you thought that was the way.
The only course that allows me to draw and do art-related things. Right. And I can chat to a girl and say, yeah, man's a graphic designer. And I won't get laughed at.
Wow.
Because if I told a girl I'm an artist, they're going to think you're broke. They're going to think you can't afford that drink. Wow. So that was I was in my very early 20s at this time. Okay. So that was how I made those decisions.
Fair enough.
I went on to do graphic design. It was graphic design and advertising. It was a lot of selling things to people and Photoshop and stuff. And I was drawing on this course. I was literally tailoring every brief to allow me to just illustrate, to draw, because this is what I really wanted to do. got all the way through to my 3rd year, did a dissertation on how, oddly enough, on how you can teach children different things using children's picture books.
Look at this.
I started to do, my end of year project was going to be a retelling of the Tortoise and the Hare's accounting book. And in my book, The Tortoise Cheats. Love it. So that was going to be my final end of year project. I got into my last dissertation tutorials like 3 months before we finished the course. And I'm getting told by a lecturer who's seen me up until this point, they're telling me I'm not going to pass the course. Why? Because my end of year project is not a graphic design project, it's an illustration project. Then in my 3rd year, I get asked the question, 3rd year, 3 months to go, I get asked the question, have you ever considered doing an illustration degree? Wow. What am I supposed to do? I'm using my 1 free government degree already.
Exactly.
Am I going to now switch? You understand?
Shot,
so I was deflated after that.
Yeah.
I didn't come back. I failed the course, did not come back. I spent 3 years studying to fail. Don't get me wrong, all knowledge is acquired.
Yeah, but it still doesn't feel...
I didn't get the certificate you're supposed to get, all right? It took me another, I think about 15 years before I got published. Right? And 10 years of those 15 years was spent trying to learn what illustration was and how I could become one. A thing that compounded that for me, and I didn't realize at the time, was that there was nobody like me out there doing what I wanted to do. So I couldn't see what I thought, what I wanted to become. Right. Couldn't visualize it. Because of that, it was hard to visualize it. It wasn't until the internet, MySpace, Facebook, where you're seeing people from different areas of the world. It opened up the world. So I'm seeing Black American illustrators. I know we exist now, even though we're in America, but I know we exist. So all of that to say that if you are a child and you're in that position where you're continually drawing and people aren't encouraging you to do so, don't stop drawing. Like, just don't stop. Like, don't stop. Look for the encouragement in other places. Like, don't stop. Like, because unfortunately, and this is a generalization, but I think there is a lot of truth to it, we as Black people don't gravitate towards a certain generation of Black people do not gravitate towards encouraging their children to pursue the arts, because it's viewed as something that's not a viable career option, that you're not going to make any money. But what people don't understand, and this is the thing I love to tell them, and children, if you're listening, tell your parents this, nothing or very few things, I'd say 98% of things, are made before they're drawn. Like, or aren't made, before they're drawn.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah,
so the clothes on your back was drawn before it was made.
Before it was made, yes.
Chair you're sitting on was drawn before it was made.
Yeah.
House you live in was drawn before it was made.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Television you're watching was drawn before it was made. Car you're driving was drawn before it was made. There are so many different careers available to you as a draftsperson. So many more than you're allowed to believe. Yeah.
That's interesting. Even that, like you said, so many more than you're allowed to believe, because there's just this very almost one-dimensional discussion around what doing something with art, inverted commas, could mean. Right. And that's the box we need to get out of.
Right.
That's the box.
And if you're out of the box yourself, it just highlights that other people are still in the box. Because again, these are people who aren't from that world. They're not from that craft. They don't have any debt to you to know about that world. Yeah. You owe it to yourself to know about that world and the possibilities that exist within that world.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the advice. Yeah. I think I'm hoping that sticks. I'm hoping it is relevant.
I'm 55 and I've always wanted to draw. I've always wanted to illustrate. I've always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to do something like that. I'm kind of good, but I don't know. I don't really show anybody my stuff. What should I do?
First of all, show people your stuff. That's how you grow.
Nice.
You get feedback on what you're doing that connects with people. You get feedback on what you're doing that doesn't connect in some cases. You have to learn to discern. And if you're 55, I'm hoping that you are able to discern between the two. Another thing is I would advocate for as well is to make yourself aware of how many free resources there are out there.
Right.
There's tons of free resources online. Tutorials, blogs, all these things that can help you improve as an artist. And also, again, at 55, just carry on drawing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, not to, obviously you're going to tell me I'm doing too much on the answer, but not to kind of go too deep on it. I feel like at 55, there should be a certain level of confidence that you have in yourself, not necessarily your ability.
I might not have confidence in myself. I might be really sheltered. I might have had people telling me all my life.
You are giving me an impossible situation here.
No, but you never know. I'm just saying I'm that person. Okay, wait. Side note. Do you ever, like how rappers have people just randomly walking up to them and rapping and being like, put me on your show, bro.
Yeah.
Do you have people sending you art being like,
my
hey, do you
DMs
think this is good?
unsolicited completely.
Do
And
you?
I have learned to ignore those DMs.
So you do get those unsolicited
all
art
the
DMs.
time.
So that's
Either
50
art or writing.
Oh, or writing, interesting. So that's what I mean. That 55-year-old, they're like the type of person that would be like, oh my gosh, I really do want to show my stuff, but I'm really shy and anxious and I'm scared.
Again, just open up your own social media platform and share your work on there. You know, and again, social media, I think it affords us some form of anonymity if we choose that. You don't have to have your profile picture up, as you get a lot of people that have animals and all that sort of stuff. You know, you can have a piece of your artwork as your profile picture, so you can be anonymous and share your work. And what will happen is you will start to find people that like what you do.
Yeah.
Like, it will start to happen. You'll find your community. I've been on Twitter since 2012, I believe it was. And obviously publishing helped a great deal. But prior to me being published, prior to me entering the industry, I was starting to find my momentum. I started to enjoy that particular platform because I found my people. As they say, I found other artists, and I found them by sharing work. There was this amazing thing that I joined. It stopped now. It was called Sketch Dailies, and they used to put a daily prompt up for people to draw. And that meant that the prompt will go out onto Twitter and thousands of people will draw the same thing, but their own way. Right. And it gave, you know, and they would share your drawings and stuff, and your following would grow as a result because people are commenting on it. Like-minded people, people with similar interests are commenting on your work, sharing feedback. It was this beautiful kind of melting pot of people who all wanted to do the same thing. And that exists. It's still out there. There's like about 12 or 16 other ones that have come up since Sketch Dailies. Sketch Dailies was in 2014, 2013. So since then, there's loads that have come up. They focus on different things. There are ones for people who like to draw animals, people who like to challenge themselves with different colors. There's an alphabet one, which is a different A-based subject, B-based subject for a different day of the week kind of thing. And then they refresh the alphabet again after 27 days and then do it all over again.
So there's loads of different bits out there for people to do if they want to
and
get out
if
there.
you are shy and all those things, you can do them from the comfort of your home. You can do them as anonymously as you want to.
Sounds good. All right. So before we move on to the real deal dilemma, we want to know what is next for Dapo. There's something that I've seen online that I'm very excited by in relation to the Look Up book. Can we talk about that? Yeah. So that's very exciting. That's just for me because that is. But anything. So tell us a little bit about that. That was very cryptic, wasn't it? So tell us a bit about that, and also just what is next up for you that you are allowed to talk about.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is this announcement that came out the other day. I have been working for the last 4 months or so with these people called the Discover Story Centre. They're based in Stratford. They are a play centre for children. It's massive. Like, they've got like 4 stories in there or so. And on their lower ground floor, they have a space that's dedicated towards exhibitions that celebrate picture books. And the first one I knew of was the one that they had for The Tiger That Came to Tea, and it was amazing. They've had Dr. Zeus. They've had numerous illustrators whose work they focused on for the space. And I had the privilege of being the next illustrator next year, and they'll be focusing on not only Look Up, but pretty much all my picture books will be in that area. And what they do is they bring your artwork to life in an interactive and engaging and immersive way for children to be able to come and walk through the worlds that you've made in your stories.
And for the adults that bring
and
children.
for the adults that don't want to bring children, but just want to come.
If I don't have to bring children, I
don't have to bring no.
Thank you so much. I was going to find a good child, but I'll be there.
You could just roll up.
Love it. Okay, very, very exciting. So that's when next?
That's April the 1st. That's drops.
April. Fantastic. All right. And then what else have we got?
We have the 3rd book in the Look Up series, or the 3.5 book as I like to call it. It's called Speak Up. That's going to be announced in early January. That's coming out in May. I finished working on that a couple of months ago. That's good. That's coming out in May. Next year that's the only book I have coming out next year. We've got quite a few Look Up based announcements coming next year that I can't talk about. But they are quite exciting. One of them involves television. That's all I'm gonna say on that. I mean, I can say that because
I was already coming to say, where's the TV show?
I can say that because
where's the film?
I can say that because it's common knowledge that the book has been optioned. It was optioned in 2019.
Yeah.
And there's some progress, there's some news, there's some stuff that's gonna be coming out soon that I can hopefully share early in the year. Aside from that, personally, I am trying to take a more studious approach to next year in that I'm going to be learning how to become a better storyteller, which means going back to the drawing board, learning how to draw again from scratch and just sort of building on what I already know, and then also doing various writing courses to become a better author as well. So,
lovely. So we're going to see more author titles from you.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. I mean, it not only does it lucratively make sense to expand the portfolio and that, it's also an interesting challenge for me to see how artists whose work I love bring my words to life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Speaking of bringing words to life. So each episode we have a real deal dilemma. Somebody writes in, tells us something that's going on for them, and we give our completely truthful opinion. Yeah? All right. So, dear Real Deal team, I've recently divorced. Let's give her a name. She hasn't, because obviously we keep it anonymous. So what's her name?
Gertrude.
Gertrude. Wow. Okay. So Gertrude. Gertie has recently divorced from her husband Keith of 13 years. It's been a difficult road, and the last 3 years have been emotional turmoil. We don't have any children, but we share a dog, Trevor, that stays with me during the week and goes to Keith's house at weekends. I'll be honest, Keith came into this relationship with no friends and not much family. Therefore, he pretty much stole mine. Recently, I found out that a few of my friends were invited to his housewarming party and they decided to go. I expected it from some of them, but one of my closest friends, Daniel, he went and I just can't get over the betrayal. I don't think this is fair as they know what hell he has put me through with the divorce. I've stopped talking to Daniel since I found out that not only did he go to the housewarming, but he also helped him to do some home improvements and had yet another dinner there while doing those improvements. Daniel just doesn't understand why I'm so annoyed. He says that he only did it because Keith doesn't have anyone else to help him. I don't want to lose my friend, but I can't bear the thought of him spending time with someone who made my life hell. Do you think I'm overreacting? Gertie.
Right, Gertie. So there are...
Right, Gertie. All right, let's go.
Right. So there are different hats that I'm going to wear for this, yeah?
Okay.
I'm going to give my personal opinion, yeah?
Yes, that's the one we want.
Right? So my non-diplomatic...
Yeah, non-diplomatic.
Personal opinion,
This is real deal.
Then people ain't your friends no more.
Wow.
Right? Because, not being funny, loyalty exists in friendships. If I introduce you to somebody, yeah, and me and that person done the dance, you cannot keep dancing with that person.
13 years.
No.
13 years.
You still cannot keep dancing with that person. And when I say 13 years, it weren't 13 years of bliss. Because if it was 13 years of bliss, it would never have done.
No. Okay. Agreed. But my thing is that I hear what you're saying. I partially agree.
But let me finish, because I ain't even finished.
No. I just want to do that one point. Just this one point. If you bring your significant other to me, usually you're probably going to have made them be my friend too. You're going to have made them be everywhere we are for 13 years. And now what you're saying is dance done.
I'm not saying luck off completely.
Oh, okay. So
what I am saying is, what I am saying is, you can shimmy, but you can't dance.
Okay.
Go into their house, fixing their house up, eating dinner and food regularly there. You're dancing. You're not shimmying.
Okay. So what's a shimmy? What would a shimmy
look like? A shimmy is a phone call or a text message.
Okay.
You understand? A shimmy is a group gathering where they just happen to be there as well.
Okay.
If you're going on holiday with them individually, that's a dance.
That's a dance.
You understand? Okay. Also, give him the dog if you don't have people in it. Left him the dog and have your friends. You understand? Because then you have people in it. And My
Okay.
non-diplomatic answer, or my diplomatic answer, should I say, is...
We don't need the diplomatic one.
Oh, you
It's
don't?
fine. No,
All right,
a real
fine.
deal show. We don't
Fine,
need the,
fine.
we don't need the diplomatic
Because,
one.
you know, there is the line of diplomacy for everything, in it. If you really want to do that, yeah. But the danger of that is you divorce this person. I believe in things ending, right? Sharing a dog even, you're keeping this man in your life. So if you're sharing dog with him, you have to share friends with him then as well.
But then the thing is, the dog might be like the child. You know, people say dogs are like children.
White people say dogs are like children.
Well, maybe Gertie might be white. I don't
Probably
know.
is. That's why I said Gertrude. That's why I said Gertrude. So
She probably is. For
so
real. She
the real
probably is.
real talk.
Yeah.
I would-
Okay.
Me,
So
I
you would
believe in
divorce the
endings.
dog too.
Complete. I'd be like, choose a home.
30.
Which one you want to go live at? Choose. But again, I don't get attached to animals. So that's just me.
13 years. I bet you.
They
if
didn't have a
you-
dog for 30
Nah,
years.
if you had a dog, okay, yeah,
They didn't have the
we
dog
don't
for
know if
30
you've had the dog.
years. Because that
Dogs
dog's
live long
old.
though. No, dogs live long.
At 13 human years, that dog is old.
Dogs
I'm
live
gonna
long.
let that dog go live with him so he can take all the bills when the dog does pass.
Oh, the poor dog. Okay, no, all right.
We have
Okay,
memories.
Cool. So, huh?
We have memories, photographs,
Wow.
videos.
You really would just chop off the dog just like that?
If I don't want this person in my life no more,
Yeah, but what if you want the dog?
then I'm keeping the dog and they can go.
Yeah, but then what if? Yeah, but then Keith also. Do you know what I mean? Like I can imagine you maybe bought the dog together.
You know, more times, yeah, real talk, more times when people do that whole thing where like they can't decide who's going to have even the child, they can't be diplomatic over the
Okay,
dog.
wait. Go
More
on.
times when people do that,
Yeah.
I feel like man like Keith only wants that dog because he knows what it means to her. I really do feel that. That's why man's holding on to her friends, because if you really want to be done with somebody, you let go of things.
I agree. I'm a done the dance type of person. So like
I never have a dog with you if I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Keep the dog.
Yeah,
I will
but-
keep the dog. Pick.
Yeah, but then what if both of you want the dog?
You know the thing about dogs? You can go get a next dog.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No. Okay, no.
Many people do that. You can go get a
that's
next dog.
because I don't think you. I mean, I haven't experienced a dog's love either. But maybe because you haven't experienced a dog's love. If you
Also because I'm a practical person.
If you
I will go get a next dog.
maybe you're able to distance yourself from emotions more than others. Maybe that's what it is.
Could be that.
Possibly that. But okay, let's go back. Gertrude, Keith, Daniel, right? What we calling the dog?
Muttley.
Muttley. Wow. Okay, Muttley. Cool. So Muttley, let's imagine they've had Muttley for 10 years. Yeah? Cool. Muttley, clearly there's going to be love. It is going to be like child.
Because I need to know how old Muttley is.
10 years in dog years.
Yes, please. Because
Do they have-
Muttley got to be old.
Wait, 10 years in dog years. 10 years in dog years. Ross, 56.
Come, tell me. Muttley's retired. What are you telling me? 56. Muttley's an OAP.
56.
Muttley's an OAP.
And that's if he's a small dog. If he's a large dog, he's 66. Back foot.
He's an
Either
OAP.
way,
Bus
either
pass
way,
and everything. Freedom
Using
pass.
this formula, see,
Uh-huh.
that's even more so why you can't just leave Muttley on the roadside with Keith.
He's not on the roadside. He's in a house that's been fixed up by Dave.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Either way. Okay, cool. So you've got Muttley, you've got Daniel, you've got Keith, you've got Gertie. Now, Gertie, clearly she's been through hell with Keith. Cool. Daniel was like her guy.
Yeah.
Daniel's her brethren. And Daniel and Keith, I feel, and this is maybe again me generalizing, but I can imagine during those 13 years, they basically became a little trio. I can imagine they became very close. So you're telling, I don't think it's going to be easy for Daniel to just turn around to Keith.
So let me give you the dilemma.
Who Gertie actually said ain't got no friends and ain't got no family. She said he came in this something with no one. And she wants him to leave with no one. But that's still quite...
It's harsh.
It's harsh.
But let me give you something.
Daniel can't just leave Keith to do everything himself if he's got no one.
I'm going to give you something right now. I've known you for 20 years.
Agreed.
You bring Keith around.
Yeah.
I've known Keith for 13 of those 20 years.
Yeah.
When you and Keith done, me and Keith done.
Okay.
It's the
No,
realness.
I guess that's.
I will say hello to Keith, you know.
So if Keith
I'll be
hollered at
civil
you,
with Keith, you know.
So if Keith hollered at you and said, "Listen, me and Alexis are finished. It's done. But you know, I've really, you know, because you guys have sat down together, you smoked cigars, you've had drinks, you've whatever. I just need some help putting up this bookshelf because it's, you know, 7 foot wide. Can you just help me put it up?"
See, I can come true, help you put up a bookshelf, yeah?
See?
Hold on, let me land. That's not what it sounded like. It sounded like he helped him build the house.
Daniel,
I can come through.
a couple home improvements.
I can come through, help you put up the bookshelf, yeah? But you won't have to hear it from Keith. I will tell you.
And you
Keith has messaged
that's
me,
my thing.
and he's asked me to come help him put up a
Agreed.
bookshelf. If you're not okay with that, tell me now.
Agreed.
You understand? Because we got mouth for a reason. You communicate things, innit?
Agreed.
You're not going to hear that from Keith. Oh, Dapo was around the other day.
Yeah.
And you're hearing that. You're hearing that from me.
Yeah, agreed.
So we know where the line is.
Okay. And I think that is probably where I'm definitely there. I'm at a place of, I would be coming to Gertie. So if I was Daniel, I'd be coming to Gertie and being like, look, and like you said, so-and-so has asked me to do this, or there's a dinner, or there's a house.
Right,
You wouldn't
why she's
find out
probably
on a
vexed
grapevine. Exactly.
is because she's finding out from Keith. And the reason why Keith is telling her, apart from him being a dirty bungle, is because he wants to get one up on her.
That is true.
Because that's what it is. It's become a
back and
divorce,
forth.
Right. The divorce was messy.
Yeah.
So this is still ongoing. They're not fully divorced yet.
It's become a back and forth.
They're not divorced. He's trying to divorce her from the friends. Who gets the friends? That kind of thing. So nah.
So yeah, I think so. In terms of so Gertrude did ask, "Do you think I'm overreacting?" Personally, I don't feel Gertrude is overreacting. No. I think that whatever your emotions are, Gertie, they are your emotions, and I think you're entitled to feel them. But I do think it's a bit over and above to expect Daniel to never speak to or have anything to do with Keith again. I do think that's a bit much. But I agree with what Dapo's saying in terms of Daniel should have told you, I'm going round or I'm doing this or I've been invited, la-di-da-di-da. I think that's a thing as well. Also, I'm aware, you know when people say someone's put me through hell, there's 3 sides to every story in it. And Daniel also needs to be aware, I think, where he lies in relation to what he thinks. I'm sure he knows the hell that this divorce has been. I'm sure he knows the pasa. So if he is aware of the pasa and is still cool to go to dinner and put up bookshelf, that's what I'm saying. As in, like, what was the level of hell if your brethren still thinks it's actually okay to go around and help?
Also, as years go on, friendships change anyway.
Agreed.
You understand? So these is 2 men and a girl and a man friend. Like, not to say that platonic friendships can't exist where it's just the same across the board regardless of gender. I believe they can. But some people, when they form a man friend and they're a man themselves, there's things in it. I don't do cars, I don't drink. The only thing I have in common with other cis het men is that I like women. That's the only thing. Right. So amongst, I have predominantly female friends, right? Or women as friends. But I do understand things like them having football in common.
Okay.
I understand that. Them having cars in common. Them things that they have in common, they bond them in this Neanderthalic way that is hard to duplicate. So if both of these men are longing for masculine friendships and them thing there, they could have a bond that she can't have with David. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that then becomes a part of the thing as well. Yeah. So she has to think about those things.
Yeah, you know? It's true. And then back to the dog. I do believe that it is possible for you to co-parent Muttley. I think it will be difficult, but I do think it is possible.
I love how you said co-parent because them analogy, they don't mix with me. That's a dog.
Parent.
You're not parents to the
Muttley.
dog.
You are parents to the dog. Listen, let's come 10 years on. You got a wife who's got a dog, and then I want to see you running around being daddy to the dog. That's what I'm saying.
You, yeah?
Anyway,
100 with
go on.
Yeah? Listen, this is gonna get me so much backlash. I don't date people that want to own a pet. I just don't.
We heard it here first, guys.
No. Let me be real. Let me say that.
We heard it here first, guys.
I don't date people that want to own or domesticate like a dog, especially dogs. It's not that I don't like dogs.
That's very Nigerian. What, dogs live outside? Oh.
It's not that I don't like dogs.
You're not going to put a little
but
coat
I'm
on
not a
it?
dog person.
You can put a little coat on it.
Dog running up and down my sofa. In
Okay,
my
no,
yard.
whoa, easy.
Dog that was pooping outside and I got to go pick up the poop and then you come and drag your bum hole across my carpet.
Okay, easy. No one's talking about the dog running across the sofa.
This is why I
it's
said
gonna
I
have
don't...
its little shoes and it's gonna, it's gonna wipe off its paws before it comes in the yard and stuff.
Then I might as well have a child. So no.
If you have a child and a dog.
No.
Anyway, okay. So what we're gonna do, I would like you to look directly into the camera in front of you, and you're gonna give Gertrude advice on what to do to make sure that her relationship with Daniel, because she don't care about Keith, she does. To be fair, she didn't even have an issue with the back and forth of the dog. To be honest, it's the Daniel being friends with Keith thing. So, just a couple bullet points to Gertrude as to what she should do in relation to this dilemma.
So Gertrude, if you're listening, Gertrude, make sure that you and Daniel have an open line of communication between the two of you. You're friends, right? Talk. He can't read your mind. If you feel some type of way about him having a friendship with Keith, state it. Be clear about what it is that you feel some type of way about. Be direct and say it. Because if it's unsaid, then he can't possibly know. And that's my advice.
Thank you very much. All right, so we have come to the end of the pod. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
The last time we met was, 3 years ago? So same time, about 2026?
Yeah, I might not be in the country if I'm going to be honest with you.
Listen, I will fly out to do the recording.
The joys of the internet.
On the veranda of your beachside home.
Come true.
Listen, like one Oprah special. Anyway, thank you very much. People, you can follow Dapo at Daps Draws. That's on Twitter and on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so Daps Draws on Twitter and Instagram. Also, make sure you follow your TikTok as well.
I don't really use it.
I'm not really down with the kids like that, you know.
I'm just there.
Yeah, I'm there as well, but there's not really much going on. I don't do the dance now.
Yeah.
Anyway, at Daps Draw on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Yeah?
That's it.
Cool. Snapchat?
Nah.
Facebook? MySpace?
Facebook, yeah, but not
Facebook.
the rest. I've just kept it. I've been on Facebook for almost 15 years.
I've been on Facebook.
It's just there.
Okay, cool. So it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
All the same thing.
All the same thing at Daps Draws. Also, you can follow me at Rasta Barbie 84 and also at Real Deal Pod on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter like Dapo's on Twitter, but I'm on there every now and again. Email us your dilemmas, realdealshow100@gmail.com, and we'll be back next week with another special guest. Take care.